And my entire focus and every single decision that I make in my business now is, can I systemize this? Can I automate this? Can my team do this so that I can protect my energy, protect my health, so that I never have another relapse?
Hello and welcome to the Driven Female Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Melitta Campbell, an award-winning business coach, value whisperer, and founder of the Dream Clients Blueprint, the proven system that guides you in defining, communicating, and selling your true value with ease and authenticity, so you can create an income, impact, and lifestyle that you feel proud of. And if that's the result you're looking for, you can take your first step by following my free training at melittacampbell.com/training. Each week on this show, I share business building wisdom from my own experiences and those of a range of successful women. My aim is to help you dream bigger and achieve more by learning from what works and gaining actionable tips, tools, and insights from women who are building a range of amazing businesses. And if you've ever been seeking an alternative approach to attracting qualified leads through launches, then you're going to love today's episode. Today, I'm speaking with Maeve Ferguson about her innovative approach to help frustrated coaches get off the launch roller coaster and create their evergreen coaching business so they can enjoy balancing their family life with their role as a successful CEO. I can't wait to discover more. So welcome, Maeve. It's great to have you on the show today.
Hey, Melitta, thank you so much for having me on.
I'm really interested to dive into our discussion today because we're going to talk about quizzes as a funnel, but this is all more about hyper qualified leads, making sure we're attracting the right people in who are ready to buy, and using nice introvert friendly strategies, as we discovered, that don't require us to be constantly launching it in our business, but give us lots of ease and flow. And I love those two words when they're combined together.
Exactly. It's all about ease and flow.
Yeah. So I think we're going to have a great discussion around that. And I know it's something that our audience is going to walk away and really feel excited by. So I'm excited to get stuck into that. But before we do, could you explain to the listeners a little bit about how you came to be where you are today?
Sure. So I have, a story quite similar to yours, actually. And I think, like a lot of entrepreneurs out there, a lot of us have been through something big that allowed us to make kind of a shift of direction in our lives. So for me, I used to be an accountant of all things in a past life. So I worked in financial services in London for many, many years. And essentially I worked in the private equity industry, and my career was like at an all-time high. I was running marathons, I was traveling the world, and it was like training 7 days a week. And then, a very, very long story cut short, I ended up catching a virus, and I spent 4 years of my life in bed. I was in a wheelchair, just unbelievably ill with this virus. And for somebody who is a very type A personality, who, running marathons and training, and my career was flying, it was one of those things that utterly changed the course of my life. And I remember at the very lowest part of that illness, I was sitting on the floor. So I had to get a wheelchair and everything to get around the house. But I remember sitting on the floor, and my then partner, my now husband, was brushing my hair because I literally didn't have the strength. And it was at that lowest point of that illness that I remember kind of vowing that when I recover from this thing, I swear I'm going to do things differently. So I did. Whenever I got better, I did go back to corporate for a very short while, but then realized, no, this is not for me. I am meant for more. There's no way that I'm going to put myself or my family through something like that again. I was in my late 30s at this point, and still, I hadn't had babies, and having a family was hugely important to me. So I literally did the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. And I left corporate and set up on my own, and it's literally gone from there.
Wow, what an inspiring story. And so, as you said, it's so interesting that so many people on the show, and it's what I've noticed for a lot of women, that's the catalyst that helps them start their business, is there's some kind of life change. It was never a big part of their plan. It was never something they foresaw. With most of the men I speak with, it was the other way around. They always plan to start a business. Sometimes it's accelerated by a life event, but for women, it's completely different. And I'm very impressed that you spent all those years in London and you didn't lose your accent like me.
Yeah, well, most of when I was in London, I talked like this so that people could understand me. So yeah, it was, and I could call everything from Muf to Mav to Meave to Move. Nobody could pronounce my name.
Yeah. Well, I struggle with that as well, but not to the same extent. But anyway, but how did you go from like having those 4 years of sickness, having no strength, going back to corporate for a little while, thinking, focusing in on and having that family that you wanted so much, and then start a business? What was the process of starting that business? Did you go all in to get started? Did you know exactly what you were going to do?
Yeah, so I actually did. So I retrained as an executive coach. So it's, if I look back now, it was all very logical decisions that I was making at that time. So I was kind of senior in corporate. I retrained as an executive coach. And then because of what I had been through, I decided to specialize in executive burnout coaching. But what I discovered was, even though I had loads of clients, I was absolutely miserable because it was kind of sucking me back to a chapter of my life where I'd worked so hard to leave it behind me. And I was also one-to-one, and very, very quickly, like a lot of us in this industry, we realized that is not a scalable business model. And to serve more people, we have to work more and work more and work more. And my entire focus and every single decision that I make in my business now is, can I systemize this? Can I automate this? Can my team do this so that I can protect my energy, protect my health, so that I never have another relapse like what I've been through before? So everything now is about not working less, but it's about working smart and allowing team and systems to do a lot of the legwork for you.
Yeah. I kind of think that when you start out in business, it doesn't matter where you start, because that is rarely the business that you continue with. It's the kind of training wheels business. Do you make all the mistakes? You figure out, oh, actually, I really don't like this, and this way of working is rubbish. I had the same. I started where I could, what was familiar, where I had my reputation, so it was easy enough to get started as a communication consultant. But then I was trying to work all the hours around my family. I was earning a lot of money, but not getting anything else from my business. And then
not living, not getting
yeah, exactly. And it got to the point where I was facing burnout, and I was like, okay, now something has to change. And then my mantra now is, before I do anything, is like, how could this be simpler? And I think my midwife was brilliant at that, because when I was looking after the kids and I was doing all this stuff, she said, whoa, hold on a minute. Do you want to be doing that for the next 18 years? It's like, no, she's, well, don't do it now. And I think it's such a powerful way of thinking in your business. Do I want to be doing this myself, this way, this manual process for the rest of my life? No. Okay, what's the system around that? So I love that you've built that thinking into everything that you do.
Yeah, we're on the same page. And I think we see a lot of people who kind of stay at that paralysis at the start, trying to pick the perfect thing. It's, as my coach said, it's like motion breeds clarity. So it's literally just get moving, get started, because there's no way I would do what I do now had I not been through all of the things that I've been through on that journey.
Exactly. When it comes to starting to work smarter, I know it's talked about a lot and it makes sense, but how do you start? Do you have any kind of process that helps you break things down and then decide how you can make that more automated? Is there any thinking behind that?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer. For my sins, when I worked in corporate, I worked quite a lot in process and control. Not very glamorous, I can assure you, but it has instilled in me a really kind of foundational understanding of why process is so critical. So what we do is, like any process in business, okay, whether it's our lead generation, whether it is KPI reporting, whether it is running our workshops, whether it is building quizzes for clients, or whatever that may be, we have a standard operating procedure in place. And so then what I always do is, I don't like to bring a team member in to teach them something that I don't know how to do myself. So what I do is do it myself, kind of perfect the process, then turn it into a standard operating procedure. And then what we do then is implement software and automation at every single touch point where possible, so that the machine runs everything for you. All of your leads coming in are just getting automatically populated into an Airtable, and that feeds into your KPI reporting automatically. So rather than trying to kind of scratch around to find your numbers and know your numbers, which we all must do as a business owner, it's, a 30-minute activity. And my CEO activities on a Monday morning, I check my KPIs. And because the whole system has been automated and everything is just pre-populated for me, I just have to hit refresh and there's my numbers. So it's little things like that. But then doing that and extrapolating that out across every single facet of the business.
You say just little things, that doesn't it sounds like quite a big thing. If anyone is freaking out over, oh my gosh, that sounds technical, go back and listen to Anke Herman's episode where she talks about how to handle your mindset around tech, and Senya, who talked all about process.
Yeah,
I'm going to dig into that now, but
yeah, that's a really good point. So when we think about all of these processes and systems, they can sound complicated, but it's like, how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I didn't build all of these systems in 25 minutes. It's just, we do one piece of the business and then we do the next piece and the next piece. And it's just going at it that kind of one step at a time, one bite of the elephant at the time is what allows it then just to be more simple, rather than trying to build, this massive business in the space of a month. It just doesn't work like that. Even though a lot of people out there are kind of vlogging and selling, they push this button and you're going to be a millionaire by Friday. That's not real, and it doesn't work like that. And it's just taking it a step at a time.
Yeah, unfortunately, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel awkward or fake when it comes to telling people about your business or offers? Or feel disheartened when you do talk about what you do and people just don't get it? Don't worry, you're not alone. Many business owners struggle to confidently and comfortably articulate the true value of what they offer, but it's not something that many people teach as the first rule of business. Yet this one skill sets apart the real business owners from the hobbyists, and when you nail it, you can stop feeling like a fraud. And instead of feeling embarrassed when someone asks how your business is going, you can feel proud to speak of the income, impact, and lifestyle that you have created. You shouldn't feel overwhelmed working all the hours or offering discounts just to make ends meet in your business. If you feel that way right now, I have some good news for you. I've created a masterclass that will teach you exactly how to communicate your true value to your dream clients and how you can use this skill to sell without selling. Once you can articulate your true value with confidence and clarity in every interaction, you'll never be left wondering how to attract enough of the right clients to your business. Access your masterclass at melittacampbell.com/training. It's my gift to you to help you grow in confidence and thrive in your business in 2023.
So how do quizzes feature?
Yeah.
This is something that you talk a lot about and you use a lot in your business. How did they feature in that whole process? Because it sounds like that it's actually almost automating the client generation and qualification process. Is that how that fits in?
Yeah, so I'll bring you back to a moment where I kind of had this realization about the power of quiz funnels. And up until this point, I was launching. So we had a good conversation before the recording about launching and what that kind of does to an entrepreneur. And I was using what I would call like ordinary lead magnets, like PDF reports and things like that. And I was at my brother's wedding and I was on the dance floor. And my feet were absolutely killing me. So I went back to my table to put on my flip-flops, and I just grabbed my phone when I was there just to check it. And there was a $7,500 sale on, like a Stripe notification on my screen from somebody that I had never interacted with. I had never had a conversation with them. It was like, who on earth is this person? So I kind of showed the phone to my hubby and I was like, okay, like that's, I'll figure this out tomorrow who this person is. But then the next day I got to thinking about it, and that was kind of the real penny drop moment for me. And that, those light bulb moments that we have as entrepreneurs. I had an automated process. So an inbound lead came into my business, went through a quiz funnel that asked very strategically placed questions that allowed that lead, that person, to understand what their problem was, allow them to realize that they were seeking a solution. Then they went from there into an automated training where I showed them the big mistakes to avoid and the solution to the problem that they were experiencing. And then they booked a call with my program advisors who do my sales calls for me. And then my program advisors converted this lead into a high ticket client, literally while I was at my brother's wedding. And that really kind of flipped my entire business on its head when I realized the power of that pre-qualification of your leads coming into your business, and more so like the level of market sophistication where your ideal client, A, they know they have a problem, and B, they're actually looking for a solution to that problem. And that is what the power of a quiz funnel and what it can do, for your listeners' businesses.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so often people feel the pain, isn't it? But then they're not guided in a way that makes them think, but yes, I am ready to solve this, because they haven't explored it in a way that's deep enough. So I love that you can set up a quiz to do that exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into the correct placement of the questions and the psychology behind the questions that allows them to come to that self-realization. Back when I was in the trenches of building my business, and again, this was part of where I went wrong, I was working with the brand new coach. Okay, so they literally were coming out with their life coach credentials in hand, or their, whatever, their nutrition coaching or whatever. And they were so excited to go and, help people and change lives. But they hadn't spent a moment of time in this online space to realize what goes on in this online space. Okay, so they literally didn't even realize that they had a problem, because they had no idea of what it was ahead of them and what it was going to take to build that online coaching business. So I was here screaming from the rooftops with my amazing programs going, please buy my thing. But I was marketing to the problem unaware. They had literally no clue what their problem was, because they weren't far enough into the journey yet.
And it's true, isn't it? And I think coaches experience this uniquely as well, or acutely perhaps. I'm big into storytelling, and what happens in a story is that the best characters, they don't get what they want, they get what they need. And that's the thing with coaches, they're marketing to what people need, but they don't know they need that. They just know what they want. So they just know, I want lots of clients, I want to help people, but they don't know what they need to achieve that, because it's just not on their radar yet. So I love the way that these quizzes can help people identify, okay, well, this is what you want, but first you need these things in place, or this understanding, or this tool, or whatever it may be, to help you get there. And it sounds like the way you're using the psychology is this blend of the emotion, like what they want, and the logic behind that as well. So they get those two parts. But I think that's what takes a decision. You can't just be completely emotional. Yes, I really want this, because without logic, you're not going to invest the money. And if it's just too logical and not emotional, you're not going to get the yes either. So it sounds like quizzes really fit into that really nicely.
Most definitely. And I think you've touched on it beautifully. So what happens inside the quizzes and the structure of these questions is you are what we call like a diagnosis question. So you're asking people a question that is in relation to their single biggest challenge or struggle or problem. And that's the kind of the moment of identification for them, that actually out of these four choices, that's my biggest struggle. Okay, so they now have kind of internalized that. They know what they're struggling with. But then what we do then is go on to kind of dig into that a little bit further to allow them to realize the impact of not fixing that problem. Okay, so it stirs up that kind of that emotion in them that, you know what, I really want to fix this now. Okay, and then what we do is we don't want to leave them feeling like, crummy or feeling, down in the dumps about themselves. So what we then do is we start to future pace them. So asking them questions about the dream and the desire. And we're almost doing this dance between the pain point and the future. And I call it kind of point A and point B, and this dance between the two all embedded inside the questions. And then what we do is just before then we tease the result before they opt in. We have them basically bring them right back up again and make them kind of motivated and excited. So what we often do there is circle them back to their why, for example. So it's like, what is your biggest driver as a coach? It is to serve more people, and all of these different answer options that allows them to kind of get back up into, do you know what, I do want to fix this now. And then we tease their result, then we get our opt-in, and then we position our offer then once they have then joined.
And when you get these hyper qualified leads in who are solution aware or problem aware rather, and they know they want to solve that, what happens next? What have you noticed in these people versus those people if they'd got your original PDF?
Yeah, so what I am discovering, and I have tested, I'm a little bit of a geek, I love to test and test and test. So I've tested kind of the quizzes straight to workshop, quizzes straight to, or direct into a sales call with the team, quizzes into micro offers. And what I've discovered is that the micro offer is the easiest way to bring them into your world and build that know, like, and trust. So once somebody, say, for example, they've been through your quiz, you get they opt in, you then tell them their result in like an outcome video, and you're telling them, here's your result, here's what it means, here's the impact that it's having on your life, and here's what you want to do about it. And then you're bringing them through to a call to action to invite them to take the next step. And the next step is basically your micro offer. And it is such a no-brainer. It's because it's a micro offer, it's really low ticket. It's super, super, super easy. It's a frictionless decision because they're not saying, here's your quiz result, do you want to buy my 10K program? It's literally just like it's all based on these micro commitments and these tiny stepping stones, one step at a time. They then jump into your micro offer, they get a result quickly, aha moments, breakthroughs, and they're just like, oh my goodness. But then what we do inside the micro offer is breadcrumb and seed desire and demand for your flagship program at the back end. Okay, so it's never about the revenue that the micro offer is making. I just kind of call that horse money. It's like, it's not about that revenue. It's about bringing those people in, and that micro offer container is the easiest way to build that know, like, and trust. Because we both know when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. So you might be running Facebook ads to your PDF, people might be downloading it, you're getting a good cost per lead. Do they even open the email? Never mind click your report, never mind read your report, never mind take the call to action inside the report. Whereas in the quiz, it's literally just, it's all there and it's happening in the moment. And this is the beauty of it, is within 60 seconds, you can have a complete stranger inside your micro offer.
Tell us more about a micro offer. What does that mean exactly? Is there any ideal format for that, or length, or delivery method?
Yeah, so the way I kind of go through this with my clients is very much there's no access to you whatsoever. Okay, so say for example, like I've got $7 micro offers, there's no access to me inside that, obviously. So it's like it's a digital product of some description, and I almost run mine like a micro course. But say for example, you're a hypnotherapist, you might have like hypnotherapy audios in there, workbooks, things like that. So it's very much inside the micro offer. We talk a lot about either having a slice of the cake or a layer of the cake. So if you think of your overall coaching program as a big massive chocolate cake, and then your micro offer can either be a slice of the cake end to end to get them a result, but then you're seeding desire and demand for the entire solution, or we are going for a layer of the cake where we're giving them 1 out of 5 results on each kind of pillar of your process inside your main signature offer. Okay, so we're not, but the whole time we're seeding desire and demand, we're getting them a breakthrough, getting them a result. It keeps them addicted to go to the next lesson and the next lesson and the next lesson. But then what we have infused inside of the micro offer is driven calls to action that bring them directly to a call with, if you're doing your sales calls yourself, directly to a call. Or if you have an automated training, directly to that, directly to a workshop that then people go on to apply to come and work with you. So all the time inside of that micro offer vehicle, we are building that know, like, and trust. We're getting them a result, bringing them through the process, but then driving them into the coaching programs at the back end.
I love that. And how complex it sounds like there's an awful lot of thinking and knowing and developing and putting things together. How complex should this be, or could it be, to create that quiz funnel?
So I always begin with the end in mind. So if we start building things, so we'd say, oh my goodness, like I'm listening to this episode, I'm going to go and build a quiz. And we start to build a quiz and then realize that it's not actually purposefully built and intentional and driving people towards where we want them to go. So we begin with the end in mind being your coaching program. And like, you might be the person who has, you know, massive group coaching programs, or you might be just starting out one-to-one. But that, you know, regardless of, it's like, begin with the end in mind. What is your offer? And then what is the outcome of that offer? Because when we look at the outcome of that offer, and let's pretend you're a gardening coach, we don't want to have a micro offer that is about baking, and we don't want to have a quiz that is about dogs, because that there's no kind of what I call funnel congruence there. People aren't going to feed through that process and just like ascend into your coaching programs if there's no congruence across the whole thing. So we begin with the end in mind. Whatever your offer is, however simple that is, however convoluted that is, what is that end result that you get for a person? And then I love to do the outcome statement, time specific, and then without their biggest objection. So build your micro offer in 3 days without running paid traffic. So something as simple as that. So really building that framework for your flagship program, and then reverse engineer from there, keep it super simple and say, right, inside my flagship program, I take people through 4 steps. So let's look at those 4 steps. Which part of one of those steps is the most logical thing to help people with? Okay, so for example, we build quiz funnels for clients inside my flagship program. You're not going to have that as a micro offer ever, because it doesn't lend itself well to that. So have a look at what would lend itself better to that micro offer. And then we want to say, right, I'm going to choose either slice of the cake, so one tiny part of one step of my process, and that is an entire result that they need, but then they need more by the time they're at the end of the micro offer. Or if you're the person who says, no, I have kind of 4 steps in my process and I would love to touch on each of them a little bit, but then allow them to realize that there's so much more to each of these steps than just the tiny little thing that they've covered inside this micro offer. And it's all about building that desire and demand. So now we've reverse engineered out of our flagship offer. We've chosen our micro offer, and then it's the same process. So inside that micro offer, what's the outcome? So outcome, time specific, without the objection, whatever the market's objection is. And then inside that micro offer, what is step 1, 2, 3, 4? And then the step 1, 2, 3, 4 turns into, you know, 4 5-minute videos. That is basically your digital course inside that micro offer. And then the quiz from there, you're saying, okay, at the back end of my quiz, I'm going to sell a micro offer on growing the best carrots in the world. Okay, another gardening example. So then what questions do I need to ask? What's the big hook up front that I can ask that is raising curiosity? So the whole point of a quiz is that people are curious. They like to discover something about themselves. It raises curiosity. We then ask them a series of questions about their struggles with growing nice carrots, what it means to them, the impact that it's having on their lives if they don't have these nice carrots. We then circle them back to their dream about being able to self-sustain their family and grow their own vegetables. And then we say, tease the result, opt in to find your result. And then, by the way, here's this $7, $27, $47, $97 offer that solves your carrot growing problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I think if we've done our groundwork in our business, we're clear about our offer, we're clear about our ideal clients, we know what we represent to them, how we're unique in the marketplace, we understood our clients' pain points. This is all information we should have anyway in our business. So it's just using all of that information in a different way to what we might usually think, but ultimately a very logical way.
It's really logical.
Yeah, but taking it from their perspective, and again looking at what's their want and how do we introduce the need rather than starting the other way around, and we kind of miss their trigger points, the bits that really get their attention in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So do you have any favorite tech or anything like that around quizzes? When I was looking into creating a quiz, there were so many options. What would be the simplest way to start with that?
So there are a lot of kind of websites that have quizzes kind of tagged into their infrastructure. But what I have discovered is using a specific software that is actually for quizzes is kind of the best way to, I don't want to get too much into the intricacies of it, but we use a software called bucket.io, and that essentially, the way it works versus other websites that have, like what they call a quiz functionality, it actually allows us to follow up with each specific lead based on the result that they got with a personalized follow-up sequence. Okay, so for example, people go through your quiz, there are either 3, 4, or 5 results, and then based on the result that they get, they are essentially getting a follow-up sequence that speaks to the pain point that they have been identified with, rather than some pain point that didn't resonate with them. Okay, and it's so when we have these kind of follow-up sequences that are so bespoke, and you start getting messages like, it's literally like you're inside my head. How did you know that this is what's going on for me? You're hitting the nail on the head because you're nurturing your follow-up sequences are all so specific to what your person has told you that they're going through, rather than just kind of spray and pray with your ordinary kind of email content going out there and hoping that it might land with somebody. You're taking people through a very bespoke follow-up.
Yeah. In my free training, I explain how once people understand your value and how you understand their problem, then when they come to that sales call, you don't need to sell to them. They already come ready to buy. You just need to then have a beautiful conversation with them to ensure that they're the right person for you to work with, that you can deliver the result that they want, and that this relationship is going to work for both parties. Exactly. And it's such a different experience. And I love how this quiz funnel really sets that up. It gives them a lot of value. It's really a great way of serving them, because they come out, even if they don't work with you, they come out with a much stronger understanding of what it is that they do need. And, there's so many knee-jerk reactions of coaches. Oh, my business isn't working. I need to invest in a website and like thousands of dollars in Google ads. Like
the next shiny object. Yeah,
exactly. Well, no, not until you know who you're selling to, what you're selling, what your value is, and all of this, the basic stuff that we've been talking about. So I love that this really helps serve them on a deeper level, get them a result, get them this understanding, and then you get to work with the people that you can have a real impact for and smoothly take them to that next level, and fast as well.
Yeah, this is the thing, and it's such a good point, and it all circles back to like micro commitments. So if you think of a quiz and you always want to have between like 7 and 12 questions, goes any further than that, people are bouncing. But it's like your micro commitment, click the button to take the quiz. Micro commitment, press the button to start the quiz. Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4. They're literally going through, and it's like micro commitments at every step. Then opt-in, micro commitment. Then on to the success page, where you're telling them about, here's your result, here's what it means, here's the impact that it's having on you, and here's what to do about it. Purchase the micro offer, micro commitment. Then they go to, just like you said, like your free training, micro commitment to sign up, micro commitment to turn up and actually watch it. Then you are shifting their beliefs and showing them that you have the solution to their problems inside of your workshop. And then it's like another micro commitment, just hop on a call to make sure that you're a good fit, rather than Facebook ad, sign up for my webinar, boom, here's my 10K thing. It's like these tiny stepping stones between A and B. And I think that's so, so important to have that built in, that we're not asking too much of people. But then as they go through this process, they are feeling heard and understood, sometimes for like literally the very first time. It's like somebody gets it. And the fact then that you're able to demonstrate that you get it shows that you've been through all this before. You've been in those trenches. You have been through everything that they're struggling with. And therefore, when you unveil your methodology and your solution, it's just almost kind of like a no-brainer decision that this methodology, like, this is going to solve my right now problem.
Yeah, I love that. And it's this feel-good funnel, and it has all those You mentioned micro commitments, but it's also these touch points, because people need to have several touch points with you to build that know, like, and trust. And if you have these touch points and at every single one of them you're understanding, you're delivering value, then, as you say, that just really builds up such a strong position and enables you to help more of the right people ultimately. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that funnel, and in so much detail as well. You've been extremely generous.
Yeah, no problem at all.
So Maeve, is there any other advice that you would like to share with the audience that perhaps we haven't touched on?
So my biggest piece of advice, and my clients are sick of hearing me say this, but it is listen to your market and give them what they want. So I see so many coaches, consultants struggling with, they sit at home, come up with an idea of what they want to do, and then build a digital course and then go and try to make the market to buy it. And what to do instead is listen to your market, and then you give them exactly what they want, but you do it in a way that is aligned with the life that you want to live. So again, back to my earlier story, every single decision in my business is this going to protect my health? I'm a mommy now, I have 2 little babies, and it's like, that is my ultimate priority, is keeping myself well and healthy and enjoying that life. So what we want to do is make sure that we're not building a business model that doesn't match the life we want to live. So I'm not going to set up a one-to-one coaching offer because I don't want to have 75 calls a day. It's like, build a business model that suits the life that you want to live, but almost kind of cross match that with what your market is telling you that they want, not what you think they should want, not what you believe that they want. And you'll know that you're not there as if you're the person who feels like you're screaming from the rooftops, like, please buy my thing, I can help you so much, just I wish you would realize how much I can help you, and if you were inside you would realize how much I can help. That is something where it's not what the market necessarily wants. Even though your program is amazing, or your coaching is incredible, or whatever, if you have that feeling, or if your listeners have that feeling, we're not giving the market exactly what they want. Because when we give them exactly what they want, there's a queue out the door.
Amazing advice to end on. Thank you so much, Maeve. If anyone wants to know more about quizzes or your work, where's the best place for them to find you?
So I'm very present on LinkedIn, but I've set up a brand new Instagram called I am Maeve Ferguson. But LinkedIn is my main jam if you find me, or just Maeve Ferguson on LinkedIn.
And Maeve is Maeve.
That's right.
Yes.
Thankfully, the English spelling, not the Irish spelling. That would be more complicated.
Thank you so much for, as I say, being so generous in sharing all of that value with us. And I think we are going to be flooding the market with quizzes from here on in.
Brilliant. So excited to see you again. Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, Melitta.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you took away as much value as I did. If you enjoyed the show, then I'd love it if you could let me know by leaving a review on iTunes. And why not help others grow and succeed alongside you by sharing this episode with your network and business besties. There are a lot more tools, tips, and insights coming up for you in the next episode, so don't miss next week's show. Or better still, subscribe now so you never miss your weekly dose of inspiration. And remember to follow the new free training I've created for you to help you communicate, market, and sell your true value and enjoy attracting more of your dream clients. You'll find it at melittacampbell.com/training. I've been Melitta Campbell, business coach and value whisperer, and I look forward to seeing you again in next week's episode.